Hello, hello. Can I get a sound check, please? Can I get a sound check? Peace, world, peace. And if you don't hear me, I'll have to repeat this. But peace, world, peace. Welcome or welcome back to Goddess Dawn Speaks, aka the $1 trillion Goddess, baby, aka the Queen of Info. We are here early on this hump day, on this Wednesday, July 2nd, because the verdict is in, y'all. The verdict is in. I got it up on the screen. And it's funny because I wasn't even going to be able to come live at the time I usually do. So the fact that it came in early this morning, well, for me it is. It's only 7:30 in the morning. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Sound check is good. Thank you, Wayne. I see P. Corleone popped in here. Yes. So I'm just really here to tell y'all the verdict, child. Hey, baby Yoda. So let's get to it. I'm not going to waste no time today. This is going to be a 5-minute live, child. No, but so do you want just the verdict or you want me to read the whole thread that was going on before the verdict? I'll just read the verdict. Hell, let me find when the verdict came in. Okay. Here we go. 10:01 a.m. There is movement in the courtroom. Combs and other lawyers have returned. There is word of a jury note. Nothing is confirmed yet. But at 10:03 a.m., just 2 minutes later, it says, word given. There is a verdict in the U.S. versus Combs. Trial will continue. Live tweeting below. 10:06 a.m., the prosecutors have filled the seats at the front table. Sean Combs has still not been brought back into the courtroom from the holding cell. Just 4 minutes later, Sean Combs has been brought into the courtroom by the U.S. Marshals. He is seated with Brian Steele on his left, Tenny Garagos on his right, his family in the second row of the gallery. The judge says, we have received a note at 9:52 a.m. It reads, we have reached a verdict on all counts. Anything to address before we bring the jury out? Everyone says no. The judge says, maintain order while the verdict is being read and until we have the jury out. The judge says, I'll ask our deputy to bring out the jury. Says Sean Combs remains seated. His 8 lawyers are standing up. The judge says, all rise. We have received your note. Juror number 5, have you reached a verdict? Juror number 5 says, yes, we have. Is it unanimous? The judge asked. Juror number 5 said, it is. The judge says, please provide the verdict for the deputy, or to the deputy, to the deputy he has here. The judge says the deputy will inquire as to the verdict. The deputy says, in the matter of U.S. versus Combs, count 1, the juror says, not guilty. Not guilty on the RICO, y'all. The deputy says, S trafficking of Cassie Ventura. Juror 5 says, not guilty. Transportation of selling of sex. The juror says guilty. Jane, S trafficking, the deputy asks, and the juror says not guilty. Transportation for selling of sex for Jane, the juror says guilty. The judge asks, I asked the media not to question the jurors about their deliberations. Jurors, you can contact our chambers. You gave up a lot. These 10 weeks, it is inspiring. You work together, rain or shine. You answered the call of public service. That should give us hope. I need to address a few matters with the lawyers. Then I will come back to meet with you. Jurors, all rise for the jury. The jurors exit for the last time. The judge says, hear any then about a sentencing date. Ignifilo says he should be released. What? He should be released. Okay, hold on. Let me get the update on that. Was 5 minutes ago. Okay, Ignifilo says he is no longer charged with S trafficking or racketeering. His plane has been chartered. It's in Maui. He does not have access to his plane. This is his first conviction, and it's a prostitution offense. He should be released. Ignifilo says his family is here and he could sign a bond. He should be released today. Go back and live at Two Star Island. The judge says, this is just coming up right now. I will hear from the government in a moment. Are you proposing he just walk outside now? He says yes. So the judge says, you're proposing $1 million bond? Ignifilo says yes, and travel to Florida, New York, and LA. Comey says the U.S. opposes his release. A person found guilty shall be detained until the judicial officer finds he is not likely to flee or be a danger. The defendant faces a maximum sentence of 20 years. Even while faced with this case, he assaulted Jane. Here in New York, preparing to surrender, he had narcotics in his hotel room. He was ready to commit his same offense. The judge says, I'm not going to resolve this second. I need to review the statuses. Mr. Comey, do you have a case in which bail was denied after a conviction under the Mann Act? You may confer and come back. We plan to be here the whole day. Child, Mark Ignifilo was ready to go on that as well. Comey says, I'm aware of cases involving minors, but we intend to raise relevant conduct at sentencing, the drugs, the narcotics, and violence. The judge says, I'd like letters from each side. When? Comey says a few hours. The judge says, I think that makes sense. Mr. Combs does not want to go back to the MDC. He is shaking his head. So 1 p.m. letters, and we'll convene in the afternoon. I'll let the parties know when. Ignifilo says he would be a fool, which he is not, to violate any condition. Shut up, Mark. Lord have mercy. Ray 4911, he needs to go to prison. Exactly. Hey, Nia X and Travel, you're doing way too much. Who said that? That was Mark Ignifilo, his lawyer, fighting for him to be able to walk right out that courtroom after getting those couple of guilty verdicts. Talking about, oh, it's just prostitution. He should be able to get out. Shamina, I'm so disappointed in so many juries now. Oh, my God. I can't even tell you. Nia said, yeah, keep them guilty verdicts coming. There was only 2, I think. Shamina said, I'm so pissed. Nia said, wait, what? Yeah, WTF, all caps. Child, this is a mess. This jury needs to explain themselves, child. How could you not see the RICO? How? I don't understand the RICO being missed here. I mean, I guess his co-defendants or his co-conspirators not testifying and not being made to testify, KK, all the ones who were doing all the dirt, D-Rock, Fahim, not testifying helped him, as well as the fact that those who did testify seemed to still be scared or singing his praises out of loyalty. Okay, we had the drug mule, Brandon, talk about, oh, he's a great guy. Ray says, what was you only heard? Okay, let me reread the verdict. I'll reread the verdict. Okay, the court has been adjourned. Let me go back up. I am like through with this. I wasted all my time. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's see, at 10 a.m. It was about 30 minutes ago. Sean Combs had been brought back into the courtroom by the U.S. Marshals, seated with Brian Steele on his left, Tenny Garagos on his right, his family in second row of the gallery. Judge Subramanian said, we have received a note at 9:52 a.m. It reads, we have reached a verdict on all counts. And the judge asked if there's anything to address before we bring the jury out. And there is a double no's on both sides. No, bring them out. The judge says maintain order while the verdict is being read and until we have the jury out. The judge continues, I'll ask our deputy to bring back our jury. Sean Combs remains seated. His 8 lawyers are standing up. Judge says, all rise. Combs stands and the jurors enter. The judge says, we have received your note. Juror number 5, have you reached a verdict? Juror 5 says, yes, we have. Is it unanimous? It is. Please provide the verdict for or to the deputy. The judge says the deputy will inquire as to the verdict. The deputy says, in the matter of U.S. versus Combs, count 1. Juror 5 says, not guilty. So count 1, the racketeering, not guilty, he says. The deputy says, as trafficking of Cassie Ventura, the juror says not guilty. Let me pull up on my other device. Hold on. Somebody had the all the charges up. That's what I need to see. Hold on. She had, oh, okay, here they go. Okay. So count 1 is the racketeering conspiracy. Count 2 is S trafficking of Cassie Ventura, which they said not guilty to. Count 3, transportation of selling of sex or prostitution of Cassie and others. And the juror says guilty. So guilty on count 3. Not guilty on count 1, not guilty on count 2, but guilty on count 3. Transportation the deputy says Jane S trafficking, which is count 4. The juror says guilty. So guilty on count 3 and on count 4. And then the deputy says transportation for prostitution for Jane, and the juror says guilty. So he's guilty on 3, 4, and 5, but not 1 and 2. And his lawyer is saying he needs to come right on out and walk out those doors and be able to access and be able to go home with his family and be able to travel to LA, Miami, and did he say New York? I believe New York. Child, I am through. Okay. Guilty on trafficking Jane Wright. Trafficking Jane was 4, and that is correct. Guilty on trafficking Jane. So not guilty on racketeering conspiracy, count 1. Not guilty on count 2 as trafficking for Cassie. Count 3, transportation of prostitution for Cassie and others, guilty. Count 4, as trafficking of Jane, guilty. And count 5, transportation of prostitution of Jane and others, guilty. Okay. Let me just make sure again. Okay. So count 1, not guilty. As trafficking of Cassandra, which is count 2, not guilty. Transportation of prostitution, count 3 for Cassie, guilty. Transportation, Jane S trafficking, count 4, guilty. I'm sorry, my bad. That's not right. It's not guilty. S trafficking for Jane is not guilty, and that is count 4. So we have guilty on count 3, not guilty on count 4, and guilty for transportation for the Mann Act for prostitution for Jane, count 5 is guilty. So not guilty, count 1, count 2, count 4. Let me make sure. Not guilty as trafficking of Cassie. That's 2. Guilty on 3. Not guilty on 4. And guilty on 5. So basically, for the Mann Act, guilty. So not guilty on racketeering. Not guilty on as trafficking of Jane. Guilty on the Mann Act. Wow. So 3 and 5 are guilty. 4 is not guilty. 1, 2, 4, not guilty. 3 and 5 are guilty. Brother, that is crazy. I can't even understand. Okay. They still need to give him like 15, Nia said. The jury is whack. Ray 4911. Okay, it was 2 separate counts for yes, there were 2 separate counts, one for each for Jane and one for Cassie. Good morning, Miss Sunshine. Okay, so not guilty for yes, they got guilty on the transportation, but not the S trafficking. The S trafficking was not guilty, correct? That is wild to me, y'all. Good morning, good morning. So there it is. There you have it. That's it. That's all. That's what happened after I told y'all Wednesday this thing was going to come. At least I was right on that. But I am so just, I don't even know if disappointed is the word. I'm confused. I'm really confused. But there you have it. I mean, I don't even know what else to say, child. I really just wanted to come on and give this verdict. Okay. Shamina says transportation to engage in prostitution carries a maximum of 10. Maximum of 10. Okay. Do we know the minimum? So he got 2 guilty counts, 2 separate counts of transportation. So he's looking at some time. I mean, I don't know what Mark feels like he needs to be out, just walk out the door. Does he not realize that that would be a move of privilege? That would be something that only some rich person would be able to do. And that's what we've been fighting against this whole time, child, letting these people do what they want. And you just want this man to walk out the door? So I will be on the lookout for the letters that they filed today with regard to this ridiculous request. And I may come on later. I'm just glad I was able to do this before it got too late, because something came up for me. I wasn't even going to be able to come on regular time today. So, but I am here early to give this verdict. And he needs to get at least 10 then. If it's a maximum of 10, which I don't know if the judge is going to give the maximum of 10 for each. He might get 10 total. He might get a little time served. He hasn't even been in there. I saw somebody say he's been in there a year. He has not been in there a year. He's only been in since September. He was very confident that he was going to get out, because this is why he wanted to rush this trial. This is why he was doing all the things he was doing behind the scenes, because he just knew he was going to get out. Even after the conviction, I'm pretty sure they talked about it. If you just get the transportation, we could probably get you out to the same day. We could probably get the judge to let you to walk. I'm pretty sure that was a conversation that was had, because Ignifilo was ready to go on that. He pressed the button on that. Let me read what he said again for those who missed that. Okay, so after the verdict came in, the judge said, I need to address a few matters with the lawyers and then I'll come back to meet with the jurors, right? So then the jurors leave. And the judge said, I'll hear any application then about a sentencing date. And I don't even know if he said the sentencing date, which he'll probably put it in the docket because Mark Agnifilo was so quick to jump the gun, talking about, oh, he's no longer charged with S trafficking or racketeering. His plane has been chartered. It's in Maui. So basically saying his plane is nowhere accessible to him. And he does this is his first conviction and it's a prostitution offense. He should be released. Like that's nothing. His family is here and he could sign a bond. He could be released today to go back and live at Two-Star Island. The judge says this is coming up right now. This is just coming up right now. I'll hear from the government in a moment. Are you proposing he just walk outside now? And he said yes. The judge said, you are proposing $1 million bond? He says yes, and travel to Florida. Oh, it's Florida, New York, and LA. The U.S. opposes his release. A person found guilty shall be detained until a judicial officer finds he's not likely to flee or be a danger. The defendant faces a maximum sentence of 20 years. Even while faced with this case, he assaulted Jane here in New York, preparing to surrender. He had narcotics in his hotel room. He was ready to commit the same offense. The judge says, I'm not going to resolve this second. I need to review the statutes. Ms. Comey, do you have a case you may confer? Come back and we plan to be here. We plan to be here the whole day, he said. And she said, I'm aware of cases involving minors. We intend to raise relevant conduct at sentencing. I'm very interested to see what they have to say about his conduct. I want to know what they're going to say to try to get him the max they can get him, because they're going to have to fight for that. Now, Comey said that she needs just a few hours to get that letter, get the filing into the docket. And then the judge said, okay, that makes sense. And then he had said, Mr. Combs does not want to go back to the MDC. He's shaking his head. Of course he doesn't want to go back. He still thinks after getting a couple guilties that he's going to walk out. Man, unbelievable. Well, I mean, I hate to even go to social media to see what all these pro Diddy people are hopping up and down about. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of celebration going on at that courthouse right now. And I'm pretty sure his kids are relieved because most of that the time was for the RICO. And the predicate acts, below that, which were 8 of them. And in my opinion, he did all of that shit. I don't understand what was the problem. I'm very curious to know. And I'm thinking they didn't see the support from the enterprise. I feel like they gave him these convictions based on his sole behavior and not any behaviors linked to any of his employees or whatever. And that's bullshit. So they still need to go back and charge KK and everybody else for stuff that they had done because it was illegal stuff. But I don't know. I really don't have much else, child. I'm pretty much done. Like I said, I will come back with the filings that are put in to see what they're going to do. I don't see the judge letting this man just walk up out of here. Like, are you serious right now? Unbelievable. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, just look out for me later today. We'll go more into detail about what's next. And I'm just like, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Well, at least they got him on something. I guess I could say that. Because he could have very well just been a not guilty across the board and walked right up out the door. I'm pretty sure that's what he was expecting to do. Wow. All right, y'all. So shout out to Trav. He emailed me. Literally, I was just waking up. Like, he said the verdict is in. I said, what? I mean, I had been looking online a little bit, but yeah, he's the one that emailed me and told me that verdict was in. So shout out to Trav. I appreciate you. Shout out to Wild Wayne for coming on to mod for me and everybody who's came in. Shamina, Nia, Miss Sunshine, Ray Ray. I appreciate y'all. Baby Yoda. But I hope you guys have an amazing day. Yeah, I'll be back later. Till then, y'all. Peace.